Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. So welcome everybody. Welcome to our amazing community call. It is once again Monday. And as we do every Monday, we're going to clear some of our stuff. So we are also streaming today through YouTube. But we're going to do Facebook, but it's down. So we are streaming today. And if you've never tapped along, get ready, right, ladies? And possibly a man on the call, because we always have like one. We like to go deep, hard, and fast. So if you've done tapping before, often people say never like that. And so we are going to be diving in, as always. I'm using my book as a guide when I'm on these live calls, Unblocked. Just a quick plug for the book. Coincidentally, I have it handy to hold up. If you haven't checked out Unblocked, please do. And if you loved it, please go back and do a review. It really helps other people to take a look at it and to clear their blocks. So thank you for that. Awesome. We're in our Zoom room today, because in our community, we do these calls in a Zoom room. And I just have to tell you that one of the members of our Zoom room is actually looking for an accountability partner to really improve their process and their commitment in getting things done. And it's motivating. So awesome. Go community. Go community. Awesome. Great job, Laurel. So we are in our month here. We like to flow through 12 months of themes. And the theme this month, actually, Kay, can you correct me? Have we switched into a new theme today? Because it's October. I'm still thinking of our September theme. Did I stick with our September theme, or have we switched into a new theme?
Yeah, we have that new theme. I'll go check it, but I thought that you were pretty close with what you were going to do. So let me just go double check.
Just make sure that I'm on target, because today I wanted to talk about doing more of the clearing and heart healing. Then, oops, I'm getting there. This month. Actually, Kay, can you correct me? Have we switched into a new theme today? Because it's October. I'm still thinking of our September theme. I am hearing that. Are you hearing that? Okay.
I am too.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think I know what's happening. So welcome. Okay. There we go. I had my YouTube window open, and so it's now playing me through my own computer. So I had to mute myself. So yes, the theme we're going to dive in on today is doing some more heart clearing and purification. And to do that, we want to go and find some icky gunk. Okay, so that's kind of how we like to work, is that down often in our first and second chakra is some icky gunk. That's a technical term that in some way requires us to do some not feeling, to avoid some part of our heart, because if we touched it, it would be, it would feel too heartbroken. It would feel too painful to not be as much in touch with all of our feelings, all of our desires, all the things that make us irritated, which lead us directly to our desires. Because if we felt too much, we would have to touch that spot. Yeah, icky gunk Monday, Heather said. Awesome. And Carla said she did some third chakra work with the book Unblocked yesterday. Thank you for that, Carla.
And so Margaret, along with this we're moving into fifth chakra. So I know that this will be part of that too.
Okay, yes. Okay, great. Right. And so we'll go from fourth chakra into fifth chakra. So that just gives me an extra flavor to add on to what I'm going to do today. Okay, so here's what I want you to think about, because we want to pick something to work on for today. Okay, so I want you to think about something that you deeply, deeply regret. You deeply, deeply, crap, I regret it. That you almost don't even want to think about it, because it feels that full of pain and regret. It can also be, because regret often sounds like something that we did, right? But it can also be, I wish that never happened. If only that had never happened, right? If only that had never happened, because it hurt so badly. Because it hurt so badly. So just, this is hard work, right? So there's always stuff that I say we want to like slide right off the table. Like, nope, not going to work on that today. That's too triggering to work on in a group process. But I want to invite you to stay with that sort of uncomfortable space around, I don't even want to think about this thing that I regret, or that I just wish it never happened. And often our logical brain says, what is the point? What is the point of tuning in and working on this? Because nothing's going to change. Yeah. So some of our participants here in our community are putting some tough things up there, like that they wish had never happened. Right, that they wish had never happened. And so feel free to put it, if you're watching me on YouTube, it's very public forum, right? So you can put only what you feel comfortable with there, depending on how identifiable you are here. And here in our Zoom room, we have our private chat here. So I won't be sharing names today. Yeah, and someone shared, if only the love of my life hadn't died. If I regret that, then my whole life is a regret, right? And so this can start to get into some really tough things. But what we're actually trying to do is to leave no stone unturned, is to go to some of these places that feel honestly counterintuitive. Like, why would I even go there? It's too painful. And knowing that when we go to those places and we can bring healing there, that it can unlock pieces of our energy, not just deliver peace to us. Sometimes it just delivers peace, but that always unlocks a piece of us, our power, our energy, our creativity that we can use in our life right now. Someone else shared, yeah, I gave all my money to my husband in our divorce due to guilt. And guess what? It never healed my guilt, just left me broke. I have heard that because as a coach, starting 15 years ago, I focused a lot on people's issues and blocks with money. And I have heard that from women and men over and over and over and over. I even had a friend who hired an attorney to look at the final agreement with this person and their ex. And the attorney said, I have never seen anything so egregiously unfair. The judge might not even sign this, but if that's what you need to do to alleviate your guilt, then I guess that's what you want to do. But I would never say that this is fair. And so that person still lives with that, right? It's like, if I hadn't done that, things would be different. So do we feel icky enough to start tapping? To start jumping in and tapping. And so with tapping, especially when we are triggered, we just jump right in on the tapping points. And I will walk you through. You can start following with me now. Or if you do love tapping and there's certain points you use, like the wrist points or the ankle points or any points you like to use, there's no magic in any special points, right? So you can follow along with me. I use the ones that you can kind of see on camera. But you can use any tapping points that you like. Okay, so I just want you to take a breath and tune into this old story, this thing that happened, and we'll just start using some words, right? If only this had never happened, and just repeat after me. If only this had never happened. If only this had never happened. It's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Why would I want to think about this again? It's heartbreaking. And I regret it. I regret it. I regret it. I regret it. Probably till the day I die. This will be the thing that I say, if only this hadn't happened. Why did it have to happen? It's heartbreaking. It's bitter, painful, awful. Maybe it even feels like something that can never heal. Never be right. I will never be right with this. And I'm just going to honor that. This is really a hard one. It goes so deep. And I really do regret it. Wish it never happened. Wish it had been different. And that pain is still inside me. Of course it is. It will probably always be. I can't reconcile this pain. It was good for nothing that this happened. It's not fixable inside of me. It's a terribly painful, sad place. A big hole in my heart. Maybe even a hole in my soul. And I'm just going to honor that. It feels totally true. This hole in my heart, in my soul, this regret, this pain. I don't know why I should even talk about it. But I'm just going to honor it. Okay, and take a breath and just put on the chat. Tell me what's going through your mind now. Tell me what's going through your mind now. What's your mind saying? You know, is it saying something like, I wish it never happened. I wish it never happened. Like, what's coming up on a loop? Sometimes it's just, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. And so what's kind of coming up? Okay, someone said, I judge myself so hard for this. I should have known better. So I blame myself. Yeah. I was so stupid. And so this is where we find, because some of these things are, you know, clearly tragic, terrible, painful. Yet this is where we also find I'm also torturing myself over it. I'm blaming myself for it. Okay. Anna said it's anger, right? We also have, I was making a huge mistake, but I did it anyway, right? Okay. So that's a really big one that we hear, like, I should have known better because I should have trusted my intuition, which is something we can be mad at ourselves for a long time. I still miss the thing I might regret so much. I still miss it. Yeah. If I change, what happens to the rest of my life? If I change this, what happens to the rest? I should have known better. Forcing myself to let it go because there's no way I can ever let it go. And that's often a common thing around what we often think of as forgiveness. Like, you just have to let it go. But when we haven't allowed ourselves to grieve it, how do we let it go? Someone else said, I can feel the pain loop shifting around the pain being intolerable. So just keep breathing and tapping and give yourself permission while you're listening to say, I don't have to feel this. I'm going to stop feeling it for a few minutes, and I can feel a tiny bit, or I can not feel it, but I can just be here in my body, and I can move away from it, and then I can come back to it. Maybe I can only feel 20% of it. Right? We don't force ourselves to feel too much at once. Even though I was little with no way to control, it still hurts so much, and I wish it never happened. Yeah, I'll never heal. I blame myself for the fact that what I did caused me to lose 2 important relationships. Someone else said the hole is in my second chakra, not in my heart. Okay, so let's keep tapping. Okay. The truth is, There is no way to heal this. So why even feel it? Why would I want to feel this? It's too upsetting and too painful. Why would I want to feel this? Especially if partly it was my fault. Why would I let that go? Because I regret what I did. How could I let that go if I regret what I did? Don't I have to think about that? That just adds pain on top of pain and deepens my regret. Or maybe it's because the people involved, even if it was God, just really let me down or hurt me in a way that is so unjust, so mean, so cruel that this happened to me. And I don't even know who to blame. Either way, it's hard to let it go. And my system doesn't want to let it go. It's mine to keep. And I don't have to let it go. And that's okay too. But I am opening myself to hearing about it more, to speaking about it with this weird tapping thing, talking it through, like I would let a friend talk. It really destroyed me. It really broke my heart. And that hasn't changed. It's still heartbreaking. It broke my heart, shook me, rattled me, shocked me, robbed me. It was heartbreaking. And even though I may blame myself, it really hurt me. I really got the worst of the pain. And I'm just going to honor that too. The pain that I've carried. The pain of blaming myself. The pain of being angry and shocked at other people. The pain of just the loss. And all the things I lost with it. It's so sad and tragic. And I'm just going to honor that truth too. The fact that I still blame myself is tragic in this whole story of pain. The fact that maybe the people responsible can't be brought to justice. It's just tragic. The fact that there's no way to undo it. because I want to go back in time and undo it. I want to go back in time and undo it. And there's just no way to. And that is just tragic. I honor this tragedy of regret and pain for myself in all the ways it continues to take from me. I honor that today. Just take a big cleansing breath. As you can see, if you're joining us through YouTube and have just jumped in, we go deep really fast, right? We're not messing around here. We go deep really fast. And so just check into your body and see, how is it feeling? What kinds of things are you hearing inside of you now? What's the feeling? And is it less thought and more feeling? Is it less thought than more feeling, than more thinking? A little bit softer. Dumbass, you should have walked away. You had the chance. Yeah, so when it's our mistake, this is how time works against us, right? Which is I had that opportunity and that opportunity and that opportunity and that opportunity, right? And do you see how like that makes it so much worse? It's like, oh, I wasn't an idiot once, right? I had all these opportunities and I didn't, right? So it's really important to look at that, right? Is to know that that's a real thing, and it does make it much, much harder, right? Much, much harder. Sadness and grief, less thought, no thought, just feeling. The first round uncovered the real rage and pain, and it did diminish a little bit near the end, feeling more sadness. Lots of sadness, tears flowing. Sadness, I should not have walked away without committing further. I have more feeling, less thought. I feel sad and tearful about what I lost, right? And so when we finally get to sad and tearful, that's grief, allowing our heart to finally sort of be purified and opened, right? The tears and the grief is what actually heals the heart, because it's like there's finally someone putting their arm around the pain, the you that's in the pain, and saying it's okay to let it out, yeah, and then we're getting more like that. I really want to undo it and travel back in time. Yeah, so we'll do a little bit more on that, because our mind, our mind is such a powerful, like sixth chakra is so powerful, right? But it can work against us, because sixth chakra can see, if it chooses to, when our heart is closed, every mistake you made, and only every mistake you made. And it can see a million ways that you could have done it differently. And you can travel through time in your sixth chakra, don't you? And say, I know what I should have done. I should have done this. I can see it, right? I can try, if I could just go back, I would have said this, I would have done this. And unfortunately, that's a closed heart mind loop, right? So we have it because it's so hard. It's such an attempt to not feel the real grief, because what does finally crying about something mean? I really want you to think about that. When you finally let yourself just break down into a sobbing bucket of tears, crying about something, what does that mean has happened? Yep, someone else said, sad, just a little discombobulated, right? Still regretful. Can't give myself permission to let it go. Tears, but then I realized it wasn't entirely my fault. Other people were there too. Laurel said, quantum physics teaches us that the now and the future can actually change the past. Yeah, and I mean, we're literally time traveling. This is the way we can time travel. I wish I could start my whole life over with new information, right? If only I had not been so trusting. So we're getting some release, some healing, and some of, yeah. And so the prize goes to share, right? Acceptance of what is. When I finally cry and grieve. And ooh, that's a hard cliff to fall off of, isn't it? There's things in my life that I've been hanging on that cliff forever, like, I won't say it, because I somehow still want to go back and have it be that I can somehow undo it and make it different. Yeah. Okay, so let's tap for those people, those of us who are like, nope, I want to go back in time and change it. And that's it. I'm staying there. Okay, is that fair? Okay, and so if you're moving more into sort of healing and acceptance, this isn't going to hurt you. Yeah. So let's tap again. Nope. I still want to go back in time and change it. I'm not going to accept this. I still want to go back in time and change it. I still want to go back in time and change it. I want to kick and scream and go back in time and change it. I will not accept this. And so use your fifth chakra a little bit louder. I will not accept this. I'm not going to accept it. You can't make me. I can still fix it. I'm not letting this go. I'm not going to feel the grief. I'm not going to forgive myself. I can somehow fix this. I'm not moving to acceptance. Nope. 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 I am going to regret. Rehash it, rehash it, rehash it. I am going to live in this space because I know better. I know better. I know better. I should have done better. I'm not letting this go. I'm not just going to give in and cry and let it be over. I've got to keep it alive. It's just an awful, unsolvable puzzle. And I've got to keep it alive. And I can be stubborn because I'm right. And the truth is, getting sad and crying and feeling bad for myself isn't going to fix it. It's not going to fix anything. And I want to fix it. Remember it. Feel it. Don't take away my anger about it. It's all I have left. Don't take away my stubbornness about this. It's all I have left. Don't take away my refusal to let this go. It's all I have left. And I won't let it go. It should not have happened. It should not have happened. And I'm not ever going to have peace with that. And I honor that. Take a breath. And so with tapping, we're always using our fifth chakra. And what we're doing here is using our fifth chakra in a very forceful way to voice some of our feelings about this past event, right? Because there's traumatic things that happen to us, and that's hard enough, right? Something really bad happens to us and has all sorts of costs and all sorts of pain and all sorts of suffering is already one bad thing. And then we can add into it all of these other pieces that keep it traumatic for years, like the shock and the meanness and the egregious behavior of other people, or the anger at ourselves, right? The anger at ourselves. And so these are the pieces that make everything, like, add onto the pain that's already there, right? So after voicing that, that's a real refusal round, right? I'm not going to let this go. Is there anything different? What's different after voicing that? What are we feeling? Did it feel true? Yeah, did it feel true? Someone said, yeah, gave my power away, and that's the worst. Yeah, so it's unforgivable for me. Allowing to feel the grief that's been locked in to be processed. Letting that emotion move when I cry, the energy in motion. It led to so many more stupid mistakes and destructive things happening after that. Yeah, so the cost was very high. Tears and anger. Yep, it felt true. Pain went from a 7 down to a 4, so that's better. I felt movement to give myself permission to start letting it go. Calmer in thoughts of some of the hard, but the good after. So sometimes as the emotion comes down, we'll start to have a shifted perception, right? Yes, it felt true. I refuse to forgive, forget, stop punishing, even though it's negatively affecting me. So, there are ways that we can use our willpower, right? That are very unconscious. We're not thinking about it all day, like, how can I use my power today to negatively affect myself? But there's ways and cycles that we get into that seem logical to our brain, and that's the problem, right? Do you think a computer has, like an artificial intelligence computer has a concept of forgiveness? I don't think it's evolved that far yet, right? Where robots can have empathy and forgiveness. And so our brain is not wired to do empathy, to do compassion, to do understanding in the context in the big picture. And so we can stay in that space. Yeah, and so I refuse to forget, to forgive, and stop punishing, even though it's negatively affecting me. It's like there is no end to the pain. So there are ways that we can use our willpower, just not really realizing it, in a way that keeps that inside of us, because we're walking around, nobody knows what's going on in there, right? But that keeps most of our power locked inside, in a battle, in a way that is painful, that is different than I'm taking empowered steps in my life. And these events are some of the things that actually, like when you take someone who feels really stuck in their life, and they could point you to 8,000 reasons that they're stuck, and you follow it backwards. Often there's events like this where most of our energy and power is going into these types of almost like inner battles. And it's a hard place. This is not easy work, right? This is not easy work, because we have to decide how long or how much of my power and energy is going into this. I refuse to let this go. I refuse to let this go. So I just want you to think about that, what you've just voiced today, even what is it costing you to have this thing that you've been carrying around, and to continue on this regret, I wish it never happened cycle? Because it does seem harmless, right? Like when I would spin in my head and fantasize about the 8,000 things I should have done differently, or should have said no then and then and then and then and then, it never occurred to me that that cost me anything. It seemed like a victimless crime, right? So what is it costing? Let's see. What came up was, I can't let go till I get the pattern. Is that too much in my head? Yeah, so it's kind of like saying, I haven't learned the lesson yet. I haven't learned the lesson yet. So see if that feels true. I can't let go till I learn the pattern. If I let this go, then they're off the hook and I'm still suffering because of it. Yeah, that's another big one, when it's someone else, right? In the inside of our system, in its second chakra, which is the scales of justice, right? And things being in balance. The second chakra, that would be an egregious miscarriage of justice because it's letting them off the hook, right? And so the fact that at the second chakra, you have an attorney standing in there that is so rabidly advocating for their client, right? Because that means that the client, that inner attorney, is like, I am never going to let this go. I am going to litigate this person to the ends of the earth, means that their client, which is a side of you, has unbelievable damages that haven't really been heard enough from. Right? So when the damages are really high, then forgiveness is like, no freaking way. And so, I talk about in the fourth section of Unblocked, it's really hard to forgive things that are hard to forgive, whether it's from us or someone else doing it to us, right? Like that's when we put the forgiveness idea to the test. How do you forgive someone that's not even sorry? How do you forgive someone that never learned the lesson or won't even admit? How do we forgive ourselves if we look at ourselves and say, I didn't learn the lesson? How do we forgive ourselves when the cost was so high and we haven't been punished enough for that? Right? Loads of feelings, regret, shame, anger consumed me for 3 years after being made redundant at a job that she loved. It affected everything I did negatively. Now I've been able to let it go through support and tapping. I feel freed. Awesome. That's a beautiful story. Now I'm able to live a great life again. I just needed to forgive myself. I made the mistakes. So what? So yeah, thank you for that. That's what it sounds like when we get on the other side of it. Right, when we get on the other side of it. Someone else said, yeah, I have to be punished for what I have done. Right, so I like to do some tapping for that inner attorney that says it would be unjust to let me or someone else off the hook. Yeah, it would be unjust. And so if it doesn't resonate for you, because it will, resonates with some people and not others, that's okay. You can tap along if you want, say words that relate for you, or just see what happens as you tap through this, because sometimes something else will pop in that you can clear along the way. Okay. So I want you to tune into this phrase. The truth is, it would not be fair to let someone, and it could be you, off the hook. It just wouldn't be fair. If I let this go, I'd be letting them off the hook, or letting myself off the hook. And that is just wrong. Right? And so all the tapping in the world won't touch that. All the tapping in the world, because when we have something like that, if we're really feeling our anger and tapping, it helps it move and be voiced. But over the past 15 years, I've definitely met people who can take that anger and hold it like this and being like, you're not taking my anger. Nope. And so you can make me tap all day and I'm keeping this right here. Right. So we really want to be able to honor that piece. Okay, so let's just jump in. The truth is, and the truth for me, it would be wrong to forgive or whatever you want to call it, because some really bad people would be let off the hook. Maybe I'm the really bad person, would be let off the hook and never have to sit with what they did, how much it's cost me. As a matter of fact, they've probably lived their life insisting they did nothing wrong. And that keeps me angry. It wouldn't be right. And I'm not gonna do it. It would let them off the hook. Why should they get to sail into the sunset with no consequences? It's so unfair. So unfair. So unjust. It's infuriating. And it makes me feel powerless and helpless. And that's infuriating. And I can never make it right, because I would need them to finally get what's coming to them, to apologize, to stand in court and be read every one of the things that they took, every bit of the damages, and have them stand there and be sentenced and judged guilty. Until that happens, I can't let it go. It wouldn't be right. So I'm going to keep this courtroom drama going. Sometimes they're on the stand. Sometimes it's me. I blame myself. But either way, this is a courthouse in limbo, a court case in limbo. And if I can't go back in time, then I at least need justice. And I need justice to finally grieve, to finally rest. I need justice to finally let this go. An eye for an eye. Second chakra justice. And until then, I'm in this limbo place, screaming in a courtroom endlessly. Or maybe I'm in this limbo place, sitting in a prison cell, never finishing my own sentence for the mistakes I've made. And I'm also the judge. So I say when the trial's over, I say when my own punishment is over. I say when enough suffering has happened. And I haven't suffered enough yet. I say how long this stays alive. Okay, and take a breath. And so for those of you who felt that, no, I'm not letting this go, it would be unjust. How did that feel to voice it that way? And I know this seems very counterintuitive, right? Because we're saying all the opposite things of I'm forgiving this. Cruel, yet true. Very true. Yeah. So I can't breathe. So some fifth chakra, right? Fifth chakra stuff is coming up. And so just keep coughing and breathing. That is very common to have a lot of coughing come up when we really hit on something. Yep. And so it's okay to walk around and go away from it and come back. Yeah, an ongoing hell, someone else said, right? And so this is intensive because we're going from heart chakra closed to voicing the closed side of the heart chakra right through our fifth chakra. And we're voicing all the negative. Yeah. Feeling a little sick to my stomach. Yes, that also happens. So you can get up, walk around the room, move your body, keep tapping on collarbone points or under here if you're feeling it in your stomach. This is actually the acupuncture point for stomach. Yep. And just keep breathing, right? And tapping. Feeling polarized right now. What does that mean? You're sort of in two different places. So here's a really powerful comment. I have to remain broken to prove how much they were wrong and how deeply they impacted me. Yes, with the strength of this willpower, we will basically say, I will always walk with a limp to prove that you ran me over with your car. Because if I'm walking normally and I look whole and healthy and strong and I look confident, it's like you never wronged me. And so this is some of the deepest second chakra work we can do. And it's advanced because it's really seeing how we unconsciously ensure when we get right up to empowerment and say, nope, I got to walk with a limp, that we're often holding someone accountable, right? Because if you showed up in court, like, hey, look at me, I feel great. They might say, I don't see any damages. And so I want you to imagine, that it's almost like they're going to walk away scot-free if I look too healthy, if I look too empowered, right? And so it's really powerful to voice this very secretive, unconscious, counterintuitive place in the second chakra. But the second chakra is running the show right now. The second chakra is running the show. It's our mind has processed a version of it that makes sense, right? But it's really the second chakra that's running the show. So it's secretive. It doesn't want people to know, like we don't want to even be conscious of this side of ourselves, but this is a very powerful piece. Voice, closed part of the throat, closed part of the heart. And so when we're voicing, I'm never going to let this go. I regret it. I want to go back in time. I'm never going to be okay with this. I'm never going to, if the heart chakra is closed, or I'm never going to let myself off the hook. The heart chakra is closed. It says no quarter. There's no place in here for compassion for myself, for understanding for myself, for holding the grief for myself, to actually saying it's okay, right? You really suffered enough. There's no place for that. It's all crime and punishment, right? So courthouse is a perfect example, because when you think about the two attorneys on opposing sides, right? It's crime and punishment. It's arguing at this intellectual level. So it's a really powerful, thank you for that comment. Yep. So eye twitching. So it's moving all the way through from fifth chakra. Now it's like twitching someone's eyes here in the call, right? It's like, yeah, moving all the way up and out. So how would I speak differently if I let this go even 25% as part of the thing I have to carry around? How would I see things differently when I look at the world, people, if I even let 25% of this melt away from my system? I've suffered enough for leaving him 40 years ago. Profound statement. What could be the message that we were handed down for this justice? Can you, I'm not sure I know what you're asking. Yeah, so if you can write that one again. So, and I'll give you a second to do that. So where do we go from here? Right? Where do we, because this is all like a lot of like, woo, right? This is a lot to sort of tune into. And some of you, honestly, might have some more tapping to do. You might be realizing, wow, this is bigger than I thought it was going to be at the beginning of this call, right? Okay, for holding on to the need of justice. So what could be the message that was for holding on to the need for justice? So how do we move from this into some new places around it? Yeah. Is it the second chakra talking when we hold on to a belief, especially when, yeah, the Margaret said, I don't have to let this go. Yeah, it's really like you can't make me, right? Because the second chakra is where, think about a toddler. This is where we go from just being a baby and receiving to a toddler when they're like, no, 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 right? And so the second chakra has my needs and what I want, and the loving, charming, I love life way of looking up at a parent and getting everything I want because I'm like, I really want that. And it has the side, it's the developing side of our power to saying, I'm going to try demanding it or being in charge and being like, all you adults are going to do what I say. And so these are both sides of the second chakra. So the second chakra, I say, is very secretive because it's the side of us that says, you can't make me. I'm smiling, but I'm saying inside, you can't make me do it. And it's actually very, it's just like a secret stubbornness, right? Because there's all of these feelings of, hey, I don't want to do it, that I've never been allowed to express. My will's been broken, right? My will's been broken. So it's actually second chakra yet. So also getting throat hurting, yeah? So yeah, a lot coming up into fifth chakra. So where do we go with this? So the first question is, yeah, can we move on to some more positives? So here's what I want you to do. So I want you to take a breath and actually close your eyes now and take another breath and just feel the chair. You can put your hands on your heart if you like. And I want you to take another breath and like a nice big in and out. And feel the chair supporting you wherever you're sitting. Feel your feet inside your shoes or touching the floor. But I want you to allow there to be a movie screen in your mind's eye, just like your imagination could paint this picture of a movie screen. And I want to invite you to allow some of the documentary film of this event to play on that screen. But it's the part of the movie where you see yourself in a moment alone after all of these things have happened. After this terrible, tragic thing has happened that you wish didn't happen and that you regret. See yourself in a later moment alone, and it's all hitting you. And just see yourself there experiencing the fallout. Even if it was your mistake or your wrongdoing, see yourself experiencing the pain and the cost and the fallout. Just like you're watching a documentary film. And imagine there's a whole bunch of people, like all the other souls on this call, watching your movie with you. And then you see over time, not only the cost, maybe there was life change or loss of money, loss of relationship, loss of love, but also see that's the loss of confidence, the loss of trust, the loss of maybe belief in myself and in my own empowerment, the loss of lightness, the loss of joy, the loss of kindness to myself, maybe the loss of being naive, of being full of belief and expectation. Were you jaded after that? And then I want you to just bring into rolling the camera forward in time, some example of how that event affected you in the next thing you did, or the next relationship, or the next thing you tried. And just see yourself hamstrung just the way you really have been. And I'm just wondering what the other people in the audience are thinking as they're watching this. Do they have compassion for you? Do they have compassion for you? Do you have compassion for you? For all the moments of sadness or fear or grief, for all the costs. And would you really step right into that movie as a wise aunt or friend or parent and say, never forgive yourself for this. Hold on to this pain forever. Let it be in your body forever. I sentence you to many, many years of blame. Is that what you would say? If that was a niece, that was a daughter, if that was a friend, or the daughter of a friend, a young person who turned to you with tears in their eyes. Is that what you would say? And so my question is, did you suffer enough? Have you suffered enough yet? Because you can sentence yourself to 5 more years, no problem. Say, yep, I'm gonna give myself 5 more years of blaming myself. I'm gonna give myself 5 more years of rage that I can't do anything with. You can give it whatever, like add on to the sentence if you need to. Or have you suffered enough yet? So just notice that. And I want to recognize that some things will be a scar on your heart forever. They will be. Some pains are too great. The loss too intense. The lesson burned on your heart. Some losses should not be forgotten. And so I want you to just take stock of that. The pain that you feel, do you need to hold a piece of it because it does something for you in a positive way? Does it help you to understand other people? Does it drive some of your passion? Is it your place where you go when you need inspiration and motivation? Because if there's a piece of this that you want to consciously say, this is a freaking scar on my heart, And I am going to have that scar because it's who I am. And I am never going to forget what it's like to hurt, because that helps me help other people, understand other people, keeps me humble, reminds me of where I can never go again. Because that's how we go from a closed heart to the heart of a lion. The heart of a lion. The heart that is like, ah, it hurts. And that is my heart. And I am going to feel that and live that and be that. That I am going to carry this piece of pain around because it reminds me that that's how strong my heart, like the heart of a lion, is. What piece of this do you want to consciously keep so that you never forget your lesson, so that you never forget to not waste another minute, so that you never forget to not listen to your intuition, to yourself? Because take that piece, right? Draw a picture of your heart with a big freaking scar on it and say, that's my heart. And it is beating strong. Because it's one thing to have the heart of a lion that is like, and you know what? I am going to love again. I am going to get hurt again. And I am going to do it again. Than having a heart that's empty on the inside, only made for giving to other people, and no muscle on the inside for you. No strength, no courage, no like, that is, I will take it and I will love again. Energy of the lion heart. And so what piece are you going to keep? What piece of pain? And it could be none, right? Some of you are like, hey, this feels way better. I'm able to let it go and have a freeness. And so what's important about the event? Because some of what people say to me is, I haven't learned my lesson yet somehow, right? And so what can you take from it? And it doesn't have to sound all pretty and good, right? Like, oh, you know, that in the end, things work out. It can sound like, hey, you have to hire an attorney because some people can't be trusted. And that I take that with me. So what do you take with you? What do you take with you? What's important that makes your heart stronger, not more closed? A big gift to myself. Forgiving myself is a wonderful gift. And, you know, we have a lots of coaches in our community. And I do hear all the time from coaches and therapists that I will never forget what it's like to vehemently try not to forgive myself, because now I see that in my patients, or I see that in my clients, right? And then the power that's on the other side, that it's a wonderful gift. Yeah. Self-compassion and walking with power. I think it's time to let go, seeing how my girls turned out. They turned out to be powerfully confident and independent. And I think that was all worth it. Awesome. Yeah. And it's sort of like, think about what's your psychic sight now. Like you might have psychic sight for not listening to one's intuition, right? What is that pain, that scar? What superpower does it give me? Like I see that from a mile away. Advocate, I will never let myself get in that place. Self-advocacy. Yeah. Like I am going, that scar across my heart is going to remind me when I start going down that path, it's going to come loud and clear, right? Self-advocacy. I will trust my intention. I will speak up for myself and others, even if I'm mocked. So, you know, I love that comment too, because yeah, compassion is a superpower from your scar for sure. But I love that comment about even if I'm mocked, because we have so much fear about other people reacting to us. And that's really wired into us as women in general, because we have literally been attacked in our lives, many of us. Physically, people can be physically threatening to us. And so but then there's also the criticism and the rejection. But I want you to think about which is stronger, someone mocking you or that scar on your heart that you have lived through and cried through and grieved and raged through and carried. Which is stronger? And let that be your strength, that it never needs to happen to me again. Awesome. Others who were watching in my movie screen were mostly compassionate, and they railed against that one person who sentenced me. They said, leave her alone, get off her back. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to bring other people into the movie and be curious about, would those people be crying if they watch this movie? What if I had the thought, life is full of pain and I want others to feel the pain I feel? Right now, I'm thinking I am an awful human being. Yeah, and so that's second chakra, right? That second chakra right there is in process, and it can sound messy when it's still in process. It sounds like an awful human being, right? Like, I want people to suffer the way I suffered. That's part of process. Right. And there are other people on the planet who walk right out into society and act upon that without any other, impulse stopping them. Yes, there are. But that is second chakra process. So Heather, what you want to do is just be with that, right? Be with that and feel it and voice it and honor it, and don't judge it. Don't judge it. Right? I know you're not going to walk around with a baseball bat and start making other people feel the pain, but honor that your second chakra is asking to be heard for that reactionary impulse, and let it keep moving. Yeah, let it keep moving. There always awareness. There's always good reasons why people make decisions. If they are not serving them, help them find out so that they can learn and heal and have dreams. Self-compassion is vital. The scar renews my passion for service to others and forgiveness for me. That's a pretty powerful scar on the heart of a lion, right? Lion-hearted means my heart will break again and I will still keep going. That's the lion heart. And none of us are glass. We're not going to break. But we need to build our hearts strong on the inside, not empty on the inside. My audience is judging me just like I'm judging myself. Yeah, so more to do there, right? Keep working through that. It means the price I paid for my own actions was so high that I'm still not going to forgive myself. And that's okay. You just keep working it. I'm a freaking survivor. If I can survive that, I can survive anything. Yeah, powerful. And that can turn to other people, right? Because that's an inspiring thing. If you look at someone and say, for everything you've been through, you are a survivor. And I know, because I know you, because I was you, and you can survive anything. That's really powerful. Yes, like the Grand Poobah. To have kind, compassion, directness for all, including me, along with the ability to be tender, soothing, forgiveness, and self-awareness. Beautiful, awesome. I feel more lion-heartedness now. Yes, beautiful, awesome. All right, guys. Well, this was amazing. Thank you for being here with me and doing some of this crazy work. Tapping for me is about empowerment, right? It's about moving our energy up into empowerment. And so in this process, we didn't end as sort of calm and sweet and meditative, which is great to do. We do that sometimes. But I wanted you to see how this turns into a piece of your power, because that's what we're talking about, is we empower ourselves, we empower everyone around us, even when we're not a coach, you know, as we have so many coaches here and therapists, but even when we just walk in our own lives as someone who suddenly has more compassion for themselves and their mistakes, I'm telling you, the ripple effect of the power of your heart field, which is like stronger and deeper and more powerful. I'm telling you, that movie, The Grinch, never had it so right. If you've ever watched The Grinch, where his heart grows 3 sizes and it cracks through the frame on the cartoon, that's exactly what happens when we find these places, and people around you will feel it. People around you will absolutely feel it. Again, even if you're not a coach or therapist, that's the power of doing this heart work. And I want you to walk around today, every once in a while, give yourself a thump on the heart. You know, that's a tapping spot. You just use a fist and tap right on your heart. And just remember, heart of a lion in there, heart of a lion, fearless heart of a lion. All right, so good to be with you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're watching us on YouTube and you want more of this, we'll give you a link over there on YouTube to check out our community, because we do these amazing calls in Zoom. And as you can see, I can talk to everybody in here with me. So there's ways for you to join our community and have these kinds of amazing calls more often with us. And if you haven't seen it, pick up Unblocked, my final commercial of the day. All right, bye everybody. Bye.